Welcome to the Deal Finders Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter, hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Property Filter. Things have moved around in the room. And so this is the UK's highest rated platform to find deals. We are on a mission to empower our property investors and deal sourcer members to find 1,000 deals this year alone, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. The purpose of your Deal Finders Corners is to give you more and the best of the available resources, invite expert guests who will share with you the latest and more current strategies, tactics and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding deals, making deals, and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to my good friend Richard Evans on today's Deal Finders Corner. Richard is going to share with you different strategies on how you can systemize your time, streamline operations in your business, and systemize things so you can achieve more success in property. Richard is a very close friend of mine, so we are on the same business mastermind group, as well as a prominent trainer for both Property Investor Network and YPN Magazine. His journey in property began in the mid-90s, and while he was maintaining a successful corporate career, he simultaneously developed a diverse property portfolio, including single-lets, HMOs, and is well known and renowned for the service accommodation as well, and went full-time in property since 2017. And the way he scaled his property business was by putting in place efficient systems for focusing on growth and scalability. He realized that in property, one could very easily get bogged down in the daily operations, and that was me at some point, and that might be you here on the call. So he enlisted his first virtual assistant from the Philippines, and this allowed Richard to focus on strategic growth and really getting the results that he's got right now in his property businesses. His success and apparent well-oiled property business led to mentoring requests from other investors seeking advice on business streamlining, systemization, and VA outsourcing. And after mentoring people on the go like this prompted him to create Vavavoom, a platform of recruitment and training for virtual assistants from the Philippines that under diverse business operations. So Richard's team has got a full team of deal sourcers in the Philippines, utilizing tools like Property Filter to train new clients' VAs and streamlining and systemizing their deal sourcing processes. And currently, if I just speak about Property Filter, we employ 2 Vavavoom VAs, and we're in the process of expanding the team to another 2, so a total of 4, in the next few weeks. And effectively, this allowed us to buy back our time for myself and the leadership team so that we can focus on business growth rather than the day-to-day operations. So what you can expect from this episode, Richard is going to share with us how to automate your deal sourcing process, how you can only spend your time on closing the deal, and not the other things, on how you can avoid those common mistakes people make when outsourcing. And then we'll have an exclusive Q&A question at the end where we can ask Richard anything. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing more of Richard's talk today. So please give a massive virtual Property Filter welcome to Mr. Richard Evans.
Woo. Thank you very much, Guillaume. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Guillaume, for inviting me to speak today. And I'm going to just kick off and share my screen. I'm going to also just open the chat box so I can see what's going on. I'd just like to just have if anybody's actually got a virtual assistant that is from the Philippines, maybe you could just put into the chat, put either yes or no so I can get a feel. Okay, so quite a few no's. So I think and a few yeses, and in fact there's some familiar names there that I can see in front of me as well. So I think you're going to find this very, very useful, and in fact perhaps even a little bit more than useful. This could revolutionize your business and really teach you how you can really scale your business by making sure that you are only doing the right sort of stuff. So the first key thing about how you actually do this, and that is to put systems in place. Okay, you need to systemize all the parts of your business, but today we're going to focus very much on systemizing your deal sourcing function. Now, we often hear people talking about putting systems in place and systemizing, but what exactly does that mean? So there are 3 core elements when it comes to systemizing a business. First of all, there's the software that you use. So you've got to be using the right software, such as Property Filter, a software that is going to automate what you do, that's going to speed up and get you what your function and get you results quicker. Then the next is process. So you need to have a process so that you always do things the same way. And when you have that process, then it maintains, as far as your clients and people that you interact with, it maintains their expectation. So if you're working with other deal sources or estate agents and you always do things the same way, then it's going to reflect on you, on your professionalism, and people are going to know what to expect from you. And then the third bit is the people. Okay, so these are the people that are using the software and following the process to achieve the various different outcomes that you want to achieve within your business. So when you've got all three of those, then you've got you've got a systemized business, and you need to, as I say, you need to systemize every single part of your business, not just your deal sourcing, but your property management and your marketing, everything that you do. Now then, who's heard of this fella? Just put it again into the chat if you have. Brad Sugars. Okay, good. So a couple have. So yeah, Brad Sugars, if you haven't, he is the founder of Action Coach. Action Coach is the world's largest coaching organization. He's actually an Australian chap. It's a franchised operation. Maybe a few people here have actually worked with Action Coach. But he has this wonderful saying here: not employing someone in your business is costing you a fortune. So, you know, it's about having a value mindset rather than a cost mindset. Always when you're spending money, don't think about the cost, think about the value. If what you spend your money on is not giving you any value, then it's a waste of money. But if what you're spending your money on is bringing you value, then you can consider that an investment. Now, a lot of people think, well, you know, can't I just do this myself? Why do I need somebody else? Well, the first key one is that you don't have time to do this yourself. If you want to be growing your deal sourcing business or growing your business in any way at all, then you need to be making sure that you are only doing the very high value tasks and not the mundane, repetitive day-to-day tasks that need to be done. Only do the things that only you can do. Another thing is you actually don't know how to do it all. You may think that you know how to do everything, but you don't. We're not all know-it-alls, okay? We're good at certain things and we're not so good at other things. And even when it comes to working with software such as Property Filter, we use Property Filter extensively within our deal sourcing function. But I actually I'm no expert on it. I know the fundamentals, but I don't need to know how to use it because I've got the team there and they are experts and they know how to use it, and they can train other people. When we take on new people into the business, they can train them in how to do this stuff. Also, when you try and do everything yourself, often there are things that you should be doing, but because you don't have time, you just never get around to doing them. Can anybody relate to that? So what you need to do is you need to design your business so that you are delegating as much as possible and you're doing as little as possible. Now, I don't mean that you're just sitting around all day doing nothing. What I mean is the day-to-day, the time-consuming stuff, you're just not doing that. You're only doing the very high-value tasks. So what exactly is a virtual assistant? So a virtual assistant, or a VA, is somebody that gives you support with the business operations within your business. And they can be just a general person that's doing just general admin, or they can be a specialist. So within our business, we've got a big team of virtual assistants, and some of them specialize in certain things. So perhaps graphic designers, content writers. In the accounts side, we've got people that are actually, my accounts lead is a qualified accountant. So they can have specialist skills or they can be general admin. But the key thing is they are part of your business. They're your team, and they will generally they're going to work from home. Certainly all of our VAs, they all work from home. And a virtual assistant can be UK based or they can be overseas. So again, all of ours comes from the Philippines. In fact, when I took on my very first VA, I took on a VA from the Philippines, but I was a little bit unsure about handing over all of my business operations to this person in the Philippines, thousands of miles away, that I'd never met. So I also decided to take on a UK VA to manage the Philippines VA. And at the end of the first month, I got just lots and lots of output, loads of work done by the lady in the Philippines. And the lady from the UK, all I got from her was a big bill. So after the first month, she was no longer part of the team, and I've been working with VAs from the Philippines ever since. And this is our core team here. So this is at an event that we recently held over in the Philippines. So as I say, they're all Philippines based, and the Philippines is the most popular part of the world for outsourcing, and for many good reasons. The people are lovely. They've got they're really warm. They're very caring. They've got a lovely nature about them. They're generally they're going to be university educated, or they're going to be certainly at that level. So they've got a very high standard of education. English is a second language, so their English skills are very, very good. They're very honest. They're very hardworking. They've got a great attitude. They really want to help and be the best version of themselves that they can. They're happy to work on a UK time clock. And of course, our VAs that we recruit, we train them in using the various different bits of software and the processes and everything, so you don't actually have to do it yourself. So you may be sitting there and thinking to yourself, well, this is all well and good, but I'm perhaps new to property. I haven't got any property yet. I'm looking to source my first one. How can I afford somebody to come into the business and help me with this? So let's look at the costs. So here we are. We've got a typical minimum wage earner in the UK. Nothing against people that work in McDonald's, but they're going to be at the beginning of their career. It's a part-time job. Maybe they're at university or something like that, but they're not really going to have that much experience in the workplace. Alternatively, you've got a virtual assistant based in the Philippines, and they're going to be more mature. They're going to have experience working in a business environment, and they're going to cost you from £5.50 an hour, which is our starting rate for virtual assistants. So, big value that you're going to get from these people. Now let's talk about the team itself and how you start to structure your business, especially as you grow rather. I appreciate that in the early days, most people, they start off with just themselves, and then you start to think, right, okay, I value my time. I want to start to build and grow a team. Start off with one virtual assistant, okay? And that virtual assistant, you give them the tasks that are most time consuming, such as looking for properties on Property Filter and analyzing them, making sure that they stack, and talking to the agent. So all those tasks that go with actually sourcing the deals, that's what you want to be giving in the early days to your VA. So this would be a property VA trained by us and supported by us when it comes to actually finding those deals. And then as you grow, you might start to take on another property VA to work alongside them. And perhaps one of your VAs, as you grow your business like that, one of your VAs, you make a team leader. So the team leader is there to support your other property VAs. And maybe once you've got some properties actually on board, then perhaps you're doing property management, and your property VAs will be managing your properties and doing other tasks as well. Then there's viewings that need to be done. So again, in the early days, that may be you, that you're doing your own viewings, but as soon as you can, you want to get a property manager. And this property manager will have some experience in property. Maybe they perhaps work part-time in an estate agent, something like that. So they'll know what they're looking at, and they will go around, they'll actually do the viewings, and maybe they may also deal with some light maintenance and things like that as you start to get a portfolio. So they can advise you once they've done a viewing on the condition, etc., of the property, and whether it looks like there's a potential deal there. And then this is the bit that you want to end up doing yourself. This is your money, it's your deal. So you only really want to be the negotiator. Okay, so you're responsible for closing that deal, making sure it's a good one. Everything else is done by your team. So what you find is as you go up this pyramid, at the bottom, you've got the urgent stuff. These are the things, going through Property Filter, doing it on a daily basis, seeing what the new projects are, what the new leads are, talking to the agents. These things, they've got to be done, and they've got to be done quickly. And then as you move up, and you move to your team leader and your property manager, they are doing less things, but they're doing the more urgent things. Sorry, the more important things. So they're less urgent, but they're more important. And then arriving with you at the top, you're doing the most important thing, which is closing that deal, not the urgent stuff. And as you start to scale your team, you want to make sure that you've got the right people doing the right things. So your team leader is going to be paid more than your property VA. Your project manager is going to be, so your property manager is going to be paid more than your team leader. If you got your property manager doing the property filter work and actually looking for the deals, then you're overpaying somebody to do that. If you're doing it, you're overpaying yourself. You're overpaying for yourself to do it. So you want to make sure that you've got the right people doing the right things, and they're at the right price as well. There's a book called by Michael Gerber. It's called The EMyth. And in that, he talks about how the systems run the business and the people run the systems. Well, when it comes to your sourcing, Property Filter runs your sourcing function, and the team run Property Filter. It's a great book. There we are. Yeah. If you haven't read it, I would suggest everybody does. Okay, so now we've thought about the things that need to be done and who's going to do them. Now we need to understand how the actual deal system, the deal sourcing function works, and we need to put into place standard operating procedures. So your standard operating procedure it's like a rule book. Okay, so this says exactly who does what and when it needs to be done by. So, and you have standard operating procedures for the whole of the sourcing process, everything from finding the deal to closing the deal. And your standard operating procedures, these are non-negotiables. Everybody has to follow that rule book. It's always done the same way. And as I say, that sets the expectation of the people that you are dealing with. And these standard operating procedures, they need to be documented. Okay, so these documents are called your operations manuals. And everybody needs to follow the instructions as per the operations manual. And you also need to have an operations manual for every function of your business as well. So not just your deal sourcing, but your accounts, your marketing, everything that you do, your operations side. These operations manuals, they become the foundations of your training. Okay, so when somebody new comes in, you give them the operations manual, you lead them through it, or your VA does this for you, leads them through it, and then you can make sure that new starters are doing things correctly, following your process, and it's always there for them to refer back to. And it becomes your operations manuals become one of your greatest assets, really. Imagine if you are selling your business, you've been very successful, now you've sold it, or you're going to sell it, and you can say to somebody, here's the guide, here's the rule book, this is how we do things. If you buy a McDonald's franchise, that's exactly what you're paying for. You're paying for their operations manual. So as I said before, you need to systemize all of the functional areas of your business. And every single business, it doesn't matter what it is, every business, there are 5 common functional areas. So first of all, there's the marketing. So this is how you attract new inquiries to your business, whether they're tenants, whether they're investors, whatever they are, it's how you attract those people to you. Then you've got sales. So this is how you take those inquiries and you convert them through to firmed up business, where people are actually going to give you money for what you do. Then you've got operations. So this is the day-to-day stuff. This is how you actually deliver whatever it is that you do. Finance, how you get paid, how you pay your suppliers, how you collect your rents. And then finally, client retention. So how you go on to do repeat business with those deal sources, with those estate agents, with tenants, etc., how you retain them. So every single business, and it doesn't matter whether it's a property business, whether it's a deal sourcing business, it can be a fish and chip shop. Every business, the 5 functional areas are the same. And you have to put systems in place in all of the functional areas of your business. Okay, so let's talk about what a virtual assistant can do within these various different functional areas. So first of all, there's marketing and sales. Okay, so with marketing and sales, you're going to have people that are probably quite similar. Your marketing people, they may be very creative, they're quite outgoing, they're good at coming up with ideas. Your sales, those are people that are good communicators, they like people, they like talking to people, they get along well with people. So very similar, slightly different maybe, but when it comes to the tasks that you give to a virtual assistant that's got those sorts of skills, doing the marketing, building your audience, you need to have an audience of people, identify who it is that you want to engage with for your marketing, and then your VA can then help you grow that audience, attract the right sort of people to you. One of the ways to do that, of course, is email marketing campaigns, sending out newsletters, these sorts of things. So a virtual assistant can drive your email marketing campaigns. Social media, telling everybody what you do on social media. So VAs can create your social media content. They can put a whole content calendar together, and then they can post it for you. Some of you may see me on social media. If you don't, do just look me up. You'll see that, I do an awful lot of posting on social media, and we've got lots of different groups and pages. But I don't create any of this content. The team are creating the content, even if it's personal stuff. If I'm just doing perhaps a video on a Sunday, which is often what I like to do, it's personal. I might shoot the video, but then I send it over to a VA, and then they will write the caption and they will post it on the various different platforms. Preparing presentation materials, marketing materials, PowerPoints such as this one. Creating investor packs and deal packs. Website updates. So if you've got a website, they can be updating your website, putting blogs on there, making sure that it's featuring highly ranked on Google, and it's driving traffic. Google are driving traffic to your website. Managing your prospect database. Really important that every time you engage with somebody, you're keeping records of what's going on. If you viewed a property, if you've spoken to an estate agent, if you've spoken to an investor, that you're keeping a track of all of those details on those prospects on your CRM system. On the operations side of the business, so first of all, the deal sourcing, actually looking for deals, using Property Manager, Property Filter, using other software as well to help you with your sourcing function, sending out land letters, perhaps on landlord letters, on stamp, this sort of thing. Then as you get projects, get properties, managing the property itself, dealing with the tenants, finding the tenants, putting listings on spareroom.com, etc. Client liaison, talking to agents, talking to investors, talking to other deal sources, drafting out and issuing agreements on Signable for signing, or DocuSign, any one of those. Liaising with local utilities companies when you've got a property, actually registering for the utilities, keeping up with payments for utilities, finding suppliers and contractors for you, and then liaising with them when there's work that needs to be done. Compliance checking if you are sourcing deals and selling them on to other people, making sure that you are fully compliant and you are following, again, the process so that things don't get missed. We talked about the operations manuals earlier, so creating those operations manuals and keeping them updated. So I've never actually written an operations manual in my life. We've got, I've got several different businesses all doing different things with different teams. Lots and lots of process going on, but it's the team that can write the operations manuals. On the finance side, so invoicing, making sure that your payments are all up to date, making supplier payments for you, making sure that you're getting your rents in, your credit control, that rents are coming in on time, doing your bookkeeping for you, your bank reconciliation, producing financial statements and reports. So if you're, if you're involved in property, you're running a business. So it is really, really important that you understand the numbers of your business and that you're in control of those numbers. So the only way you can do that is to have your VA team giving you financial reports, telling you what's your profit and loss, what's your cash flow looking like, what's the balance, what's the balance sheet looking like. And you want to be having those regular updates from your finance team. For me, I'm more of a people person. Spreadsheets and accounts, they bore the pants off me. But because I'm running businesses, I understand how important this is. So just once a month, I sit down with the finance team, with each business, they run through those reports, make sure that, it's a sanity check, make sure that everything's good, making sure that we haven't got problems coming up around the corner. And then once I've done that, then I can get on and do the other things that I'm best at. Liaising with your accountant. So again, you don't necessarily need to be doing day-to-day liaising with your accountant. What we do is the finance team, they take care of all the day-to-day stuff. They do the reconciliation at the end of the year. The accountant logs onto Xero. They can pull off the information. If they've got any questions, any queries, then they can address those directly to the VA, and then they can prepare submissions for HMRC, tax returns, this sort of thing. Managing your expenses and your mileage log, making sure that you are keeping track of your receipts and making sure that you're putting in the claims for any out-of-pocket expenses that you may have. And then next one, this is a game changer, an executive assistant. I think, Gilliam, you'll agree that having an EA is really game changing. This person will save you so much time. So you can have your executive assistant looking after your calendar, booking all your appointments for you, managing your inbox. I don't know about you, but I've got about 10 different inboxes with emails that are coming in, and most of them are rubbish. So I've got an executive assistant that goes through my emails. They'll respond to the ones that that they can. Those that they can't, then we have a chat about once a day, something like that, and they'll just run through any emails that I need to deal with. Making and receive telephone calls on your behalf. And that's not just your EA, your deal sourcing team as well can do that for you. So we can set a VA up with a local number to you, and then they can use that number to call out to agents. The agent or whoever they're speaking to would never know that they're speaking to somebody in the Philippines. They'll think that it's somebody, that's local. Responding to instant messages that you get, and dealing with personal items as well. If you've got to buy somebody a birthday present, then they can get onto Amazon and get you out of trouble. So when I first started doing this, a lot of people said to me, I tried working with a virtual assistant and it just didn't work out for me. And I also get a lot of calls from people that say to me, I've tried recruiting VAs. I've had 2 or 3 that have come on board, whether they're from the Philippines or not. It just doesn't seem to work out. And I find that there's common mistakes that people make when it comes to outsourcing and working with a virtual assistant. So the first thing, often people, they take on a virtual assistant and then they think, they just carry on still doing everything themselves. They find it very hard to let go, especially if you're very used to doing everything yourself. So it's a discipline that you need to put in place. So, you've identified that you need to take somebody on. So then use them, let go, let them get on and do the task. And sometimes people think, I can do it just as quick as it would take me to explain to somebody else. Well, that may be true the first time, but when you teach somebody else how to do a task, you're then going to let go of that task. You might need to show them once, twice, 3 times, but then they can continue then to keep doing that, those repetitive tasks. So you're just going to, having that mindset where it's quicker to do it myself, or just carrying on to do it yourself. You're never going to get your time back. You're never going to grow. You're never going to scale. People don't know how to recruit. So like I say, people saying, oh, I've tried this 2 or 3 times, and it's just not worked out. Well, it's very, very easy to get a bad recruit. Sometimes people are very good at interviews. They can walk the walk. Sorry, they can talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. Unless you actually know what you're doing, and unless you've got a very solid recruitment process, then it's very easy to get the wrong person. And of course, when you do that, it takes time to recruit people. So let's say you decided, right, okay, I want to have a virtual assistant that's going to help me with my deal sourcing. So you think about the job and what the tasks are, and you maybe make a little list of those tasks. And then you think, right, okay, I'm going to post that now on the internet somewhere. So you put a posting on there, and provided you've done a good post, you can perhaps expect to get 200 or 300 applications come through. And then you've got all these CVs, and you're going to start going through them, and perhaps you're not really sure what to look for. So it's a bit random, but you're going to shortlist perhaps down from the 200 that you've got to maybe 10 that you want to take through to the next step, which could be that you're going to do some interviews with those people. So you line up 10 or so Zoom calls with them, and from there perhaps you shortlist down to 2 or 3, and maybe you give them some trial tasks to do, and then you decide, right, okay, so this is the person that I'm going to take. Well, that whole process may have taken you a few weeks, maybe a month, 6 weeks, something like that, to get through that process. And now you start working with them. And so you have to now teach them the tasks and how to do stuff, how to work with Property Filter, other software. They've got to get familiar with the process and how to go about doing things. And that's when you're then going to find, as they start doing this stuff, that they're then going to get used to it. Over a period of time, they'll start their shift, they'll switch on their computer, they'll know exactly what to do, and now they're providing you with real value. Now, that's if you've got a good recruit. If you haven't, and it's been a bad recruit, then you're right back at the beginning again. So when it comes to bad recruits, they're very, very costly in money and very, very costly in time as well. Not understanding the culture. So if you are working with people from another country, from another part of the world, it's really, really important that you understand their culture and how they behave and what's important to them. And it's important that they understand our culture. So all too often, you get somebody that's taking on somebody from the Philippines or from India or South Africa, wherever it is, the different cultures, and they don't understand how each other's behave and think, and things can then go horribly wrong. Not having any process in place, doing things randomly, differently each time. Not using any kind of task management system. So it's really important when you're delegating tasks that you have got a task management software that you're using so that you can track those tasks and the person can report back to you and make sure that you're setting due by dates. We use Trello. There's a few of them around. You might just want to write these down. Trello is a good one. That's very, very graphical. It's a basic task management software. Asana is another one. Monday, there's a few of them around, but I think Trello is a very simple to use one, and not particularly expensive. Not using a CRM system. I said earlier, it's really important when you are having conversations with people, you're keeping notes into a CRM system. Or if your virtual assistant is having conversations on your behalf, again, they are keeping notes in the CRM system. So then you can both see and keep track of what the last conversation was that you had with that particular person. Where are they in the pipeline? So on CRM systems, recommendation on that one is Less Annoying CRM. That is exactly as it says on the tin. It's a basic CRM system. It doesn't have, all the whistles and bangs that some CRM systems have. But this for deal sourcing, it's very good. If you go to my website, in fact, all of these bits of software that we recommend and that we teach VAs how to use, it's all listed out on the website, and with some of them you get special deals. So with the CRM system, Less Annoying CRM, if you subscribe to us, you'll get 60 days free trial, so no risk to you at all. Lack of leadership skills. As you start to bring people into your business, you're not there as a boss, you're not there to manage them, you're there to lead your team. And there's a very big difference between being a leader and being a boss or being a manager. With a boss or a manager, people are doing things because they're doing tasks because that's what they're told to do. When you're a leader, you are there to support your team and to guide your team and to help your team and advise them if they've got problems, anything that they're not sure about. And when you're a good leader and people are inspired and they're doing the work that they enjoy doing, then they're doing work because they want to do it, not because they're told to do it. Not having any kind of reporting process. So, it's really important. You don't want to get to the end of the month and you've got to pay your VA and you're thinking to yourself, I don't actually know what they've been doing all month. So you need to have some kind of reporting process in place so that you can keep track of what they're doing, how much time they're putting into the various different tasks that they're working on. And you can keep track of that and make sure that when you're addressing any concerns, any problems that they may have as they're doing their tasks. Expecting 24/7 support. It's amazing when people, if you're working in an office and you've got staff or you've got a team in the office, then that perhaps they let's say they're part-time. They start at 10 o'clock in the morning and they work through to 3 o'clock and then they go home. So you see the person arrive and you see them go. And you know that when they've walked out the door, they're not going to be back till 10 o'clock the next day. But for some reason, people always think when they've got people that are working from home, that they're always available. Well, they're not. Everybody's entitled to downtime, to be with their family, to do other things. So it's really important also when you're working with virtual assistants and people working from home, that you agree at the outset, when are they working and when aren't they working? So, if they've finished their shift, you can still send them a message, something that you want them to do, but you're not going to be surprised when they don't read it till the next day when they start their shift again. And not working with individual skills. So we've already said it, some people are very good at certain things, maybe creative, people. Other people are very good at following a process, attention to detail. They don't mind working on their own. They don't really need other people around them. These are the sort of people that work very, very well doing deal sourcing and property management and perhaps bookkeeping, because that's what they're good at. And in fact, probably 70 to 80% of the people that apply to us fall into that category. And so, we're providing admin services. So they're going to gravitate to a company that is going to recruit for those sorts of roles. Where we struggle actually more is finding people that have got the creative skills that we need. So make sure that you're giving people the right sort of work that they're good at, work that they're going to enjoy doing, and then you can expect that person to stick around for a long time. And of course, when it comes to all of this stuff, recruitment agencies, they don't actually provide you with any support. So, we are completely different. Support is our key, our core value. That is what we're all about. That's why people come to us, because we want to provide the very best support for everybody that we come into contact with. So that is our clients, people that are using us. We want to support them as best as we can. So we help you. We give you information so that you know that when you're outsourcing, you're doing it the best way and you're going to get the best results from your virtual assistant. And the virtual assistants themselves, support for them as well. So if you give your virtual assistant something to do and they're not sure how to do it, then we will then show them, we'll train them in how to do those particular tasks. So if you decide that you would be interested in coming on board with Vavavoom, these are some of the things that we will give you. So first of all, you get access to a video vault, a Kajabi video vault, and that has got in it lots of tutorials, information on outsourcing, on different bits of software to use, how to get the most out of your virtual assistant. Every single new person that comes on board also gets one-to-one mentoring with me. So I will talk through how to actually lead a team, understanding the culture, the Vavavoom way of working. So we have a way of all this reporting and the delegation process of using Trello. We have a way of doing that. And that is how our VAs are trained when they come through the door. And I also give you the same information so you know how the VA has been trained and how they're going to work. You get access to exclusive webinars that we do. We call our clients Voomers. So when you come on board as a Voomer, we have webinars that are specifically for Voomers. Of course, you get your own dedicated virtual assistant that's trained by us. We also have an IT support desk. So if you're struggling with any software, getting anything to work, not quite sure about anything technical at all, then you just book a call in with the IT support desk and then they can sort that out for you. And they're also there to support the VAs as well. You get access to an exclusive Facebook group as well. So this is a place to share information. We're a community. Our Voomers, that's what we call you, Voomers. So, you know, you can share, ask questions on the private Facebook group. And as I've said, ongoing support for both you and your virtual assistant. So if we got time, Guillaume, we can do some questions.
Yes, indeed, yeah. So, yeah, thanks a lot for that. So I think people don't realize that we can't just throw people at you know, in a business and, you know, they're going to sort it out somehow. So I liked how you sequence and organize your presentation around the systems, you know, so the way you systemize is getting the right software, wink, wink. Then the process of how to go about doing things in a repeatable way. And then the people come third, you know. And I think in the mistake people often make, you can add to your list, you know, like, people think like just by throwing someone is just going to magically solve the problem, but there's a bit more to it than that. And yes, as I said at the intro, so we use Vavavoom. So we have a couple of remote team members in the Philippines, and we're looking at doubling this team actually. Yeah, because we're quite happy. So I made the mistake initially thinking, you know, is this cost and value mindset thing where I went on the likes of Upwork or things like that, try to be that person recruiting myself, and you go on cheap and then you need to train them, explain them everything, and it didn't really work out. So in terms of this cost me actually more because I had to spend all this time onboarding and training people that were not fit at the end. And then at the end, I came back to Richard because they're already trained, they're already vested, they already went through a quite stringent selection process. And I know we're very happy with the team we have. So yeah, I guess I wanted to share. Sometimes it's not, you know, it's not just the bottom line thing you can look at, but it's the old things that come around. And when you've got someone and a team that really works for you, building this team, it's a lot simpler. So yeah, I should have gone back to Richard earlier or gone with Richard in the first place, really. So don't make my mistake.
Thanks very much, Guillaume. I will, if I may, just mention some of the other things that we do. So Vavavoom is probably what we're known most for the VA side. We also have your virtual marketing team, where we do branding and websites and all things digital marketing. The actual work is done in the Philippines, but it's controlled here in the UK. So again, much more competitive than working with marketing organizations that are UK based. And we've also just recently launched Answer for Business. So this is a 24/7 call answering service where it's more than just a call answering service. We will actually answer the call as though we're part of your business. We will hold a knowledge base on typical questions. In fact, we're just working at the moment with a letting agent, and they get around about 200 calls a week from people that have seen adverts on spareroom.com. So they just give us their qualifying questions. What is it that they need to check before they'll arrange a viewing for somebody? And so when somebody calls now, they're diverted through to us without knowing it. We answer the call, we run through that checklist, make sure that we qualify the inquiry, and then they've got access to the viewer's diary so they can actually arrange the viewing for the business.
I guess another question I would have is, how do you deal with time difference? Because obviously I'm working UK time, and then these people would work overseas, might be in different time zones. So how does that work?
Yeah, no, they are in a different time zone. They're currently 7 hours ahead. And everybody that applies, okay, so they know what we do, and that the majority, although not all, but the bulk of our clients are UK based. So it's an expectation when they apply that they're going to be working to a UK time clock. And so 9 o'clock in the morning, I think that's 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment, with the time difference. So, you know, when businesses really sort of open and start at 9 o'clock in the UK, it's going to be late afternoon, and their expectation is that they're going to be working through the night, or into the night. Having said that, you know, different people want to work at different times of the day. I have got people in my team that you know, they're working in the Philippines till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. That suits them, you know, that suits them. And so they finish at 4 o'clock in the morning, then they go to bed, and you know, they get up at lunchtime or whatever in the Philippines. And running property businesses and serviced accommodation, we need answer for business 24/7. So we need to be able to provide that cover throughout, you know, throughout the day, throughout the week. So yeah, so different people have different requirements. So if we know what are the hours that you want your VA to be working, then when we line up people for interview, we'll make sure that they're people that can commit to those hours.
Awesome. Another question is, for someone who doesn't have a VA, or doesn't feel like, you know, doesn't know that they need one, doesn't see the cost of not having one, I think someone that helps them. So where do we start? You know, for someone who's never outsourced anything, what's the first few tasks, you know, we'd ask someone, and what's the profile of the people, you know, they'll be looking for?
Okay, I'll just talk you through the process then. So, you know, when you first start out in business, and you're starting to recruit your first virtual assistant, start to think to yourself, what are the things that for me are the most urgent, but actually easiest to outsource? So these are things that are time consuming for me. They're not high value tasks, but they still have to be done. So that could be using Property Filter, understanding the strategies of how to use Property Filter, and then doing that on a daily basis, looking at things, at deals, knowing how to stack those deals perhaps, and setting up appointments and viewings.
Yep.
So, you know, that could be the good place to start. And when you take on your first virtual assistant, you know, you get to know, like, and trust people. So when you first take them on, you're going to get to know them, and you're going to start to understand what are the things that they're really good at, and what are the things that they're not so good at. And when you work to people's strengths rather than trying to build on their weaknesses, you can then think to yourself, well, okay, so now I can give this person these tasks to do, and perhaps you can start giving them some more tasks. But then you think, you know, perhaps that person, if they're not very good at you know, numbers, then you're probably not going to get them to do your bookkeeping for you. So then you might think, right, I'm going to take on another VA. Could be a similar profile, but perhaps they've got some experience and background doing bookkeeping, maybe working with Excel. So you tell us the tasks. That's all you have to do. Just tell us the task. All those VAs that we are going to line up for you to interview over Zoom, they've gone on a journey with us. We already know them. You know, we've taken them through our screening process. We get typically around about 400 applications every month, and maybe 10 to 15 will get through the screening. So, you know, there are only very, very good ones that get through that screening. And then we take them through our training program. So we've actually got to know them on that journey. So anybody that we line up for you, we know that they can do the job, and we're not going to line up the wrong sort of person. So you just need to trust us and let us worry about getting you the right person, and we'll then show you how to outsource and work with that person.
Awesome. My take on this for everyone, for what it's worth, I would say the first thing you want to outsource is your email inbox and your calendar. And when it comes to Property Filter, you can set and forget your lead generators, you know, in Property Filter. And then it's having someone do the initial screening where they'll do some due diligence and book the appointments for you. And then all you have to do is do the viewings, you know, go and view the properties and then convert, you know, do the negotiation and convert these good leads into great deals. So going back to the systems, you know, software, process, and people. So the software is Property Filter. The process will be to write a document, or have a room to help you write a document to, with your criteria, assess which of those leads, what to do with it, and what will trigger you to go on a viewing or not. And then the people, you know, like obviously they'll come from the room, and if you can, you have someone to look at your inbox and calendar. That's a game changer. There's a couple of other questions. So if I go all the way up, someone's asking, do we have job descriptions and workflows that comes with the service?
Well, you don't need to write job descriptions.
Yep.
Or workflows for that matter. So as far as the job description is concerned, we're doing the recruiting. Okay, so all you have to do is tell us what are the tasks that you want to give somebody. Okay, we've gone through a whole recruitment process. We've done the screening. We've looked through their CVs. We've done checks on them, referencing. We put them through the training. So you're not trying to attract anybody to respond to your job listing. We've got those people. They've come to us. They've approached us. They've been screened. They've been trained. So we'll look at the tasks that you want to have done, and then we will line up suitable people. We will generally line up, for most people, we'll line up 3 or 4 suitable candidates. You will interview them over Zoom. We will host those interviews. So they're all done at the same time. So we'll bring them onto the Zoom call one after the other. You'll get to meet them. You can ask them questions. They can ask you questions with our guidance. At the end of the interviews, then we will have a chat with you, get your feedback, maybe advise you, help you decide who you want to be your virtual assistant. And you'll then have your mentoring with me, and then we will onboard that VA for you. So all that hard work has been done by us. And, you know, we've got a much higher chance of getting it right. We have a very low failure rate. Okay, we've got a much higher chance of getting it right than if you tried to do it on your own. And also, it comes with a 6-month guarantee as well. So if anytime within the first 6 months, you feel that this is not the best person for you, they don't, you know, the personality clash, they don't quite fit your business, etc. Or if they leave, then we'll just replace them free of charge. No further charges for that.
Awesome. And someone's asking 550, 5.50, is that plus VAT, and is that are there any other costs?
Yeah, okay. So we have first of all, the first cost is 495 plus VAT. Everything's plus VAT, I'm afraid. So 495. So that's when you come on board. That covers the recruitment of your virtual assistant. It covers your mentoring with me. It comes onto our system, so you've got access to the video vault and all of those things that I just talked about, and the onboarding of your virtual assistant. So you get all of that for £495, and then we charge by the hour, based on the number of hours that you use. Now we have 2 different grades of virtual assistant. First of all, we have general virtual assistants, and for the sort of things that we're talking about here, still sourcing, property management, day-to-day bookkeeping, general VA is absolutely fine for that. Okay. We have a minimum usage of 25 hours per month. And you might just want to write these down. It's all on the website. So between 25 hours and 80 hours a month, it is $7.65 an hour. Between 80 hours and 120 hours per month, it is $6.65 an hour, and $5.50 an hour is if you're doing over 120 hours per month. Now that's for general VA. We do also have premium VAs. Okay, so these are people who perhaps an executive assistant, somebody that's got more experience. You know, I said my team leaders, those sorts of people. You're going to have to pay more for those, because if you don't, we can't attract them to, you know, they'll go and get a job somewhere else. So premium VAs, they're at a higher price. I can't remember the rates, but they are on the website. All the pricing is on the website, so there's a little bit a bit more to pay for them. Just talking about,
I think we pay £8 something or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Mm-hmm. That QR code, by the way, if you scan that, that takes you to my link tree. That you can access any of the websites from there. You can also, if anybody wants to have a free discovery call with me, then you can, that will give you access to the online calendar, and you can book a discovery call in with me.
Awesome. So, and there's one more question from Mark, which I think is a really good question. What is the turnover rate of VAs? How long do they stay with you? And I'm guessing how long do they stay with us, you know, on the other side?
Yeah, sure. So turnover is very, very low. Okay, so, you know, when it comes to people, and I would say actually in the Philippines, they probably are much more, in this country, people do like to job hop a little bit and, you know, get bored and then move on and do something else. They don't really do that in the Philippines. And when it comes to people, first of all, the jobs are in high demand. I just mentioned our core value is support. So we get a lot of applications because we've got a reputation for providing great support, and we train them for free. Other companies, they have to pay to be trained. We train people for free if they're the right sort of people. So, you know, we give them great support, and the way we teach people is, you know, you've got to give people the right sort of work. If you are giving people the right sort of work that they enjoy doing, that they're good at, and they're feeling supported, they've got no reason to go anywhere else. So, you know, we pay well in the Philippines. So, you know, that's what it's all about. So we retain our VAs, we do retain them. Obviously, we do lose some, you know, husband moves abroad, or, you know, children, health, whatever. These things happen in life. But generally, our retention is very, very good. And I've got on my core team, I've got VAs that have been with me since day one.
Awesome. And one more question, and after I got to rush to baby's vaccination. So someone's asking, I've got a good VA that I worked with many years ago. How can I introduce her to your company?
So she can apply. So we have another website, which is called vavavum.ph. And if she goes to vavavum.ph,
there's vavavum.ph for the Filipino to VA to apply, and then there's vavavum.solutions for us to work with you. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. I've put these in the chat. Do save the chat. Take a screen grab with these. I'm sorry, Richard. I have to run to the GP. But thank you so much for having you. Any last word?
No, I think I've probably covered everything, but I'd just like to say again, thank you very much for inviting me along, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the session and found it very informative.
Yeah, thank you very much. So thank you for joining us on today's Deal Finder Corner. So visit the Vavavum website and book a free discovery call with Richard. Visit the property-filter.co.uk and log on to your Property Filter account. Check out the deal blueprint, define your goldmine area, engage with motivated sellers, assess properties in seconds, load your pipeline and make deals, have an endless supply of deals. Join the 1% and become a high achiever deal finder. I hope you enjoyed today's Deal Finder Corner. looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much. Have a very good day.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.